Stan the Annuity Man, America's annuity agent licensed in all 50 states. Yes, I do sell annuities, but only if they're appropriate and suitable. I know you're saying, no, you'd sell them to anybody. No, I mean, if you call me and you explained your situation to me, then I might say, no, you probably don't need one, because I only sell contractual guarantees. I don't sell hypotheticals and theoreticals and all that stuff. And by the way, the shirt, do not resuscitate, that's to my dutiful producers and film crew in case I keel over from the virus here. Just let me die. There's lots of life insurance in place. No, I'm kidding. What we're talking about today is annuities in a trust. A lot of you are looking at that, being pitched that, being shown that, thinking about that. Somebody's been in your ear, because no one wakes up in the morning and go, you know what, I'm going to put an annuity in a trust, or I'm going to have my trust own the annuity. No one does that. Someone has talked to you, and that's the reason that you're here. That's the reason that the video, that's the reason you're looking at Stan the Annuity Man as the expert on this, to finally rip through it all. I'm getting ready to do that, and I think you're going to be surprised at my answers. In 1, 2, 3. Okay, the brutal truth, do not resuscitate. So producer, you okay with that? I didn't need to wear a t-shirt. They're like, yeah, we're down with that. Annuities in a trust. Disclaimer, and we need to get this straight right here, because there's a lot of people out there, advisors, agents, pseudo wealth managers, wealth architects, retirement income specialists, whatever little tag they put on their business card. If they are not a lawyer, actually got a degree, and a lawyer that specializes in estate planning and those type of things, they shouldn't be given trust advice. You know, that's why I tell people all the time, you shouldn't take tax advice from anyone other than a CPA, or I guess a certified financial planner would be close to that, because they have to go through a tranche of studies that will allows them to give advice on some realms of tax. But I'll always say, go to a tax lawyer, okay? Go to someone who specializes in tax. I'm not dodging the estate questions, because I'm going to get into some of the basic 30,000-foot views with annuities and why you should or why you shouldn't. But if you listen to one thing, listen to this. If you're thinking about putting an annuity in a trust, having a trust own one, or having trust as the beneficiary of an annuity, go see a lawyer. Go see a tax lawyer. It'd be the best money you've ever spent in your life. Do not take tax advice from anyone that doesn't have that degree, and that's including the #1 agent on the planet. The advice I'm getting ready to give you about annuities and trust are 30,000-foot view advice that you need to take to your tax professional. Okay, so what are the basics of a trust in general? And let's just kind of break it down into English, Southern speak, because I'm from the South. We don't like all that legal speak. Okay, trust in essence, it's a legal instruction guide for the way you want your money distributed when you die. Does that make sense? I mean, yes, there are living trusts, but most people are putting trust in place so that money will be distributed the way they see fit, controlling it from the grave, whatever you want to call it. You know, those are trusts that, from a beneficiary standpoint, if you're putting a trust, if you have an annuity, you have a trust as the beneficiary. So when you die, the money goes to the trust. Then the money's going to be distributed from that trust the way that you instructed it legally with your lawyer who set up that trust. In a perfect world, that's the way it should be understood, as how they work. Now, there's a lot of people out there that say you should never put a trust as the beneficiary of an annuity. There's a lot of people out there that say you should. There's arguments both ways. But none of that matters. Only thing that matters is your specific situation and your conversation with your tax lawyer, if it works for you and how it's structured properly. Oh, by the way, not all annuity companies will accept trust as the owners of the annuity and the annuity type. Again, it depends on your specific situation. That's not a dodge, but we're getting into tax ramifications here that only the tax lawyer needs to check that box, because once they check that box and sign off on it, they own that recommendation. So, you know, most of the time, when you put a trust as the beneficiary in a non-qualified account, it's kind of a non-event. You know, if your tax lawyer signs off on it, that's cool. A lot of people have a problem with trust as beneficiaries inside of a traditional type IRA, because there's some tax hurdles and some exemptions that come into play. So, like I said, especially with IRAs, you need to talk to somebody before you have that trust named as the beneficiary, but they could be named in a non-IRA as beneficiary. It's kind of a non-event, but you can always just name, individuals and list percentages, primary, secondary, tertiary levels of beneficiaries, etc. And it's, annuities are legal tender, so that money is going to be distributed exactly how you lay it out in the policy. Hey, by the way, a revocable family trust is typically the trust types that are used when you want to have the trust own the annuity. But once again, I've seen it all. I mean, I've been doing this for over 3 decades, so I've seen all types of setups and structures. But when you contact me at theannuityman.com and we have this conversation and it gets to that trust point of looking at as a trust as a beneficiary, trust as an owner, I'm going to require you to get on the horn with your lawyer and conference me in so we can have that conversation, just to make sure that your lawyer understands the annuity type that you're buying and the benefits and limitations of that annuity type, so they can ask questions of me as well, because I'm assuming that the lawyers that you use are probably not adept at all things annuity. They need, just like I'm not adept at all things taxes. So it needs to be a 3-way conversation that we have on a professional level, not a salesy level, an informational level, because I need to know a little bit more about your situation through the lawyer's eyes, and the lawyer's eyes needs to know more about the annuity situation, the annuity type that's being recommended, the benefits and the limitations, the good and the bad, so that they can structure the trust if that's what they recommend, either as the owner or the beneficiary. So a guy called me the other day and he was talking trust and talking all this stuff, and we got down and dirty with some of the details of what he's trying to achieve. What we found out at the end was he was kind of trying to be a little fancy for fancy's sake. At the end of the day, he did not need the trust to own the annuity that he was looking at. We actually set it up using humans. Okay, we didn't have to do the trust. But if we do involve a trust as beneficiary or as an owner of the annuity, we're going to need a copy of that trust. We're going to need all those details so that we send that in with the application, so that the issuing company has that trust paperwork on file, whether it be electronic or hard copy. Back in the day, they wanted just the hard copy. Now they're going more to the electronic. But understand, you're going to have to go through a little bit more hoops during the application process, whether the trust is the beneficiary or the trust is the owner, depending on which side you go on, what direction you go. It's going to add another 5 to 7 business days, guesswork, don't hold me to that, but it's going to add more time to the application process, because the annuity company wants to make sure that they're dotting every I and crossing every T and making sure that all the legalese are in place and to your satisfaction. Books, I'll send them to you for free. All you have to do is go to theannuityman.com. These are annuity owners manuals, and cool, SPIA, QLAC, DIA, every single product type that you have a question on, I've written a book on. Now you can buy it at Amazon, or you can go to theannuityman.com and sign up, and I'll send it to you for free. No obligation. Nobody's going to call you. No one's going to show up to you. You're not going to get a flood of emails. You're just going to get the books. And then if you want to engage with us and have a conversation, you certainly can. And I look forward to that, by the way. And you're going to talk to me. In most cases, 99% of the time, unless I'm traveling, you're going to talk to me, Stan the Annuity Man. I got 30 years in this deal. I know what I'm doing. I'm not going to sell you. I'm going to treat you like a professional. And with that, I'll see you on the next Stan the Annuity Man video.